of the biggest challenges in drawing the human face accurately is the specific features of the face in and of themselves, the eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. They are each their own sort of little sculpture and fascination on their own. So it's good to practice the anatomy of those. The other thing is to place them correctly on the face. So we're going to do a little exercise here on just practicing the mechanics of placing the features correctly. Now, I think we all want to be expressive if we're learning to draw the human figure, so there's always a balance between learning some mechanics, what I will call mechanics, and learning them so well that we can put them down without having to think, and then can be more expressive. So this would be a very mechanical exercise, although faces vary a great deal one from the other. There are certain things about the shape of the head and skull and where the features are that are common to all faces. So if we can learn a sort of prototype, sort of have that imprinted on the insides of our eyelids, we can get those down quickly, and then we have enough energy and creativity left to look at the subject we're drawing and see where that prototype varies, see where that person's eye is shaped a little bit differently, or the nose a little bit wider, or the lips a little bit thicker or thinner. One of the tools that I've found very helpful is this Charles Bargue drawing course. This was used by the masters. It's a series of images of drawings and plaster casts that masters used centuries ago, and then it was sort of stopped in the late 1900s and 20th century, I'm sorry, the late 1800s and the 1900s. And so Charles Bargue put this book together photographing these plaster casts and these drawings so that artists could make use of them. And they use a step-by-step approach, breaking down the images into simplicity and then going to complexity. If you go all the way to the back of the book, there are many wonderful things to copy. I have read that Vincent van Gogh found this so helpful he went through it 2 or 3 times, the whole course. And we know that Van Gogh's figure drawings are very expressive, like the rest of his work. What we perhaps don't realize is that he worked very hard on accurate anatomy before he was able to be that very expressive artist that he ended up being. So in an exercise sort of like this, now this would be our sort of end goal. We would want to maybe be able to draw this lovely piece. But the first thing we would want to do is to figure out where all of these elements go. So we break it down and have a guide to help us see. This is a sight exercise, and the only measuring that we will do will be comparative, because one of the things in drawing from an image, either from real life or from a picture, is being able to what we call eyeball or assess the distances of lines and elements one from the other. So in this first box, we have the midline, and I'm going to press quite hard so that you can see this. Let me see if that's showing up. Yeah. But if I were doing this for my own study, I would go lightly so that I could erase if I needed to. So this is the midline of the face, and you see that left to right the facial features are symmetrical. And then we are using the principle of thirds, and every face is divided this way unless there is some deformity, but if not, in the absence of that, the proportions are 1/3 from the base of the chin to the base of the nose, 1/3 from the base of the nose to the top of the eyebrows, 1/3 from the top of the eyebrows to the top of the hairline. Not the hair, not the top of the head, but the hairline. So by learning to eyeball this accurately saves a great deal of time later on. And the more we do it, the easier and more quickly we get that accurate. So it's easier to assess this space and this space to begin with. So I'm going to put that mark in first. That's the chin. And then assess from here to here. That would be the top of the hairline. And then I only have to divide this space into thirds. So I'm going to do little tick marks first to see how close I am, and then I'm going to just check it with my thumb and the tip of my pencil and just keep moving it down. That looks pretty close. So now that I'm sure that's accurate, I'll draw this line a little longer because that's for the eyebrow, top of the eyebrow, the nose, and the chin is fine. So once I've done that, I can move to this next square. Now this is printed so that I don't have to do this process again, although it would be very good to practice this. But this is helpful to just break down how to learn where to put these elements. So here, these marks have been done accurately. So I'm going to put in the eyebrow there, and I see that it's an eye width, the middle, let me say that again. There is one eye width space between the eyes. So I need to start my brow over here, and I'm copying that shape. So that's the eyebrow. Then the nose, the base of the nose, not the middle, but the base is up just a little bit. Oops, that's a little bit wide. I'm eyeballing. This comes, the side of the nose is a plumb line down from the eyebrow there. So I need to make that come in a little bit. And this is a very abbreviated but helpful way to just say, there's the nose. And then the mouth, the midline of the mouth is a little bit higher than halfway between the chin and the nose. So I'm putting in the middle of the mouth, and then the top lips, and then the bottom lip. And I'm not going to draw a line all the way across because we rarely see a totally outlined mouth. And then the chin. Now I see that my mouth is a little bit big, so I would want to do this again. If I were doing this on my own, I would either erase this, and these markings are here so that the markings won't be erased, and I would try it again. And then over here, I'm going to match the shape of these eyes, remembering that eyes are not duplicated ellipses. Nah, they're not equalized ellipses. They are trapezoids, more like that. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I put in the eye here. And this lady is asleep or has her eyes closed, so we won't have to deal with eyeball features in this exercise. And then I'm going to put in the side of the face, which meets right at the eye, the edge of the eye there. It's actually her hair. And her the two sides of the face, and the cheek planes here. And then over here, I'm going to finish out with the hair, which starts right, let's see, right about at the mouth. I'm using plumb lines and measurings of all the features to figure out where to start these things. And I'm noticing that this edge is about 1 eye width away. So if I use that, I can easier tell where the edge of the hair ends up there. Then the top of the hair, the top of the head coming out. Now this is a little bit wider, so for whatever reason her hair comes out wider. And then the neck, and keep in mind that the neck muscles go in toward the middle of the body. They are not like this, like we've all been taught to draw the head with the shoulders or neck like this. They actually go in. And there we go.